My name is Tui Imagiles and I am from New Zealand, but I am also Tongan from Whawa'u in Whalewai. Tapa has always been in my family, in my DNA, and I was surrounded in my bedroom by my grandmother, Emma Topeni's ngatu. I used to wake up to these beautiful, earthy, coloured patterns on my wall every day, and I didn't know what it was, properly until I was a bit older, and then I understood. And I think that must have been my inspiration and what pulled me in to the tapa and to our ngatu from Tonga. I am absolutely fascinated by the shore books. It was quite an emotional experience because there was a page covered in ngatu and it just showed how careful our work was. It was so beautiful, the kupesi. The patterns were so fine and it showed that we had a lot of great care and thought that went into our art practice. And I feel like we need to bring more of that intricacy into our artworks today. I wish there was something writing about it, like just to know exactly where everything's from. And I mean, that would be a dream, right? To know like what village was it, who did it. But I'm grateful, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually grateful that we have that to reference because the colours are rich. I don't like the cutting up. Of course I want to see the big one. I don't know, they just wanted samples, right? My past pieces are symbolic of a traditional Tongan woman in her attire. I think I did this piece probably close to 10 years ago, and the baby actually symbolises my daughter Aroha. But this piece not only is the past, it's also the future. This one, oh my gosh. So I got told some beautiful stories of the freshwater eels here in Tahiti and how you were feeding sardines. You bought them for everyone to feed them, and just hearing the joy of some of the people that went, I found that so inspiring. Yeah, I just wanted to add a freshwater eel because it's part of Tahiti. And I've done 2 spheres. Those are my future because they're completely different. And it's like a sculpture work and it's new and it's modernized and I think it's contemporary. And I feel like it's important to bring something new into the space. And I've done 2 with octopus pictures on them because if you look at Whawa'u from a bird's eye view, all the little islands in Whawa'u look like a bit of shape of an octopus. I just feel like we can learn a lot from the ocean life. That's what I feel. I always put a contemporary spin on things. I think we are living in today's world and I use the old ways because I feel it's so important to pull it out of a museum and be able to bring it into my practice. I think that's just so important because it's like we're taking our ancestors with us. My biggest inspiration is my mother. I'm so lucky to have her. I feel like this was my planned path, was to go down the tapa genealogy. She learnt from her mother and she learnt that from her mother and it just went right back centuries. And she's giving me all these gifts and I'm able to pass it to my daughter. So I am really just grateful to my mother. I have to go out there and I have to keep talking about this important cloth and this ngatu and to remind people and also different cultures that we can revive this because there's so many cultures that have lost it. My role is to continue on our Tongan culture through the bark cloth.